that writing was in you and you could write?
Uh, Sabba, as a child, I was a little too emotional and, you know, if I may use the word, though it's a little negative word, temperamental probably sometimes. So my mother always said that, you go and write in a diary and whatever you feel. But actually, the one poem, the one time which I remember when I really started writing poetry was when I was in class 4. And my teacher, she was a Mrs. Rao. She was a beautiful South Indian teacher. She was my my English teacher. So one day she told us that, all of you, we are not going to take any class. And you go out one by one and stand in the, row wise, stand in the balcony, which was adjacent to our class, and look outside and which overlooked that balcony overlooked the main road, the Thornhill Road in Allahabad. Uh, so that was where I wrote my first poem, and I showed it to my sister who's here, the eldest sister who's here, and she said, "Oh wow, this is very nice." So that was the point. That was the first poem which I wrote, which I remember.
And what was it on? What was the poem on? It was on nature.
The Yeah, it was about what I saw. What a beautiful day it is. Something like the people are walking, the cattle are chewing, something like that. It went like that. Wasn't a very profound one. Just about the beautiful day, and it was a nice April, the beginning of April, when the breeze is cool and the sun is not too warm. So that was the first poem I wrote.
And it's such a pretty book. I mean, very enamored with the cover also. It's a very striking and it's such a lovely book. I'm very intrigued with the title of the book. Would you like to talk something about the title of the book?
Sabah, this book, the title "Dance of the Flamingos" is it is based on a poem of mine which is there in this book, and actually, I'm a very honest confession. I'm quite bad with titles. So when I showed the manuscript, Santosh Bakaya Di, I don't know if she's come or not, who has badgered and literally pushed me into compiling my poems. I'm a big procrastinator, you know. So she took it and she said, "Why don't you give this title?" So she she suggested the title and I liked it. Then this cover was designed by my cousin's daughter, my niece Shambhavi Singh. I gave her the title, I gave her the manuscript, and it is wholly her creative juices which have made this possible.
Can you read out this title poem, please?
Yes, sure, I will. Uh, Dance of the Flamingos. He touches me with feathered eyes, eyelashes caressing my cheeks. As flamingos dance, unfurling their wings, splashing their hues, I run to hide myself, away from those eyes, growing limbs, walking towards me with sure steps. I stumble, the eyes catch me tightly in their embrace, pulling me inside the whirlpool of magnetic gaze. This is the poem Dance of the Flamingos. So it's not actually about flamingos like somebody was saying. It's about the color of the flamingos unfurling on the cheeks.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank
what
you.
have your influences been? I mean, what are the things that have influenced you? And especially, I can see that you're writing bilingually, which is not very common. People have an expertise in a single language, and I've seen your Hindi poems as well, which are as beautiful as your English. So, I'd like to know your influences. Where do the poems come from?
Sabah, as you know, you also come from the same city. Allahabad, as a town, I mean, you can call it a town. It's smaller than Delhi, of course, but there were many events. It was full of cultural events. Where I remember as a child, we used to go to watch the shot play competition every year, and every day, there was a play or the other happening, and many music concerts which were happening, and this was, mind you, all classical. My mother and my mother maternal side, my maternal grandmother, my mamas, that's my uncles, my nana, everybody used to play instruments and sing, and very fond of music, poetry. So every time I went to my, my grandmother's place with my mother, we always used to have, whenever there was a wedding or anything of the sort, every child, everybody had to perform, either recite a poem or tell a story or sing or play the flute or the sitar. And my mother too writes. So she writes beautiful poems and songs. And my aunt is a folk singer. And so sort of this was all there in the family. I've learned sitar and also Indian classical singing. So have my sisters. My sister is much more proficient than me. So all this just came very naturally, gravitated towards the arts. And but for me, poetry was always very close to my heart. So I think the general atmosphere in which we grew up, and in Allahabad, it was not a very filmy kind of programs which we attended. It was all very cultural, classical singing and plays and competitions and poetry. So I think it was generally how I grew up, which had an influence, I feel.
I think that's the reason why I also found your poems very rooted in the Indianness. You could see imagery
Yes.
from the deep-rooted soil. Yeah, so that is very. Would you like to recite any other poem that you like from the book?
Okay, there. See, all poems. I don't know. People have different. You know. Let me recite this. This is about bhakti. So
Yeah.
bhakti. I have. This is in two parts. Bhakti. One is the Shringar. Second is Vairagya. So bhakti in Shringar Ras. Swathed in the robe of your love, wearing the kohl of your devotion in my eyes, the bindi of your divinity shining on my forehead, the tinkling bangles in tune with your flute, the soft lilting anklets of your bond on my feet, I drink the cup of your name, yearning to be one with you, my love. This is Shringar. I'd like to read the Vairagya part of this too. O my beloved, let me cast away my ornaments. Let me wipe away my kohl. Let me rub off the red from my lips. Let me untie and cast away my robes. Let me peel off my skin and break all my bones to unsheath that which is yours. And then let my bhakti be an offering to you, my love, as we merge.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank you.
absolutely. And that Indianness which comes out, it's amazing. And I think, as you were saying, maybe because about your interest and your knowledge in classical music and everything, did you think that it influences your writing? And how much did it influence your knowledge of classical music?
Sabah, I think it has, of course, our experiences in our childhood and everything has an influence. And like I told you, I'm also, the folk literature, the folk music also is steeped in me because, like I told you, as I was growing up, and even now on important festivals on Holi, I sit with my mother and I sing Hori. It's called Hori. Then there's on weddings we have Bia, which is called. It's a typical kind of a song. So I know all that, and also I'm not saying it as a matter of pride, but I'm happy. Earlier it was because my mother and everybody in the family said sit down and sing with us. But as I grew up, I realized that this is, this is our real treasure. This is about our culture and this is who we are. Unless we recognize who we are, we cannot imbibe other cultures and other languages. And that is why I think I'm part of Katha Kathan too, because that is about Indian languages and Indian culture. And when I met Jameel Saab, I realized this. So
I think that is what which seeps through. Would you like to recite a Hindi poem for us? Just to get more flavor from what you write.
Yes, and before that, may I say something? I mean, since Dr. Koshi is here and everybody, I would like to say that another influence has been that I was writing and from Kafia, and then I moved on to TSL, the Significant League. And being in the company of accomplished, poets and writers, and like Dr. Koshi, Dr. Santosh Vakaya, Sadbir Chadhaji, Gauri, they are all very accomplished. Dr. Koshi, of course, is a scholar, academician. Santosh Bakayadi, of course, has written so much. So it has also meeting you, of course, Sabha, and all of you. It has played a very important role in my journey because, just sitting with you people, reading what you have written has enriched me tremendously. So, you want me to read the Hindi one?
Yes, please.
Okay. This it was made into lyrics, so this is the one I'm going to recite. तेरे हुस्न की तारीफ कैसे करूं, तेरे हुस्न की तारीफ कैसे करूं, लफ्जों में इसको कैसे बयां करूं, तेरे हुस्न की तारीफ कैसे करूं, लफ्जों में इसको कैसे बयां करूं, वो उजला सा नूर, वो निगाहों का तेज, वो रूहानी खुशबू, वो धीरे धीरे से मुस्कुराना, वो मीठे बोल, वो चमकता रुखसार, वो रंगीन लिबास, वो अपनेपन का एहसास, तेरे हुस्न की तारीफ कैसे करूं, लफ्जों में इसको कैसे बयां करूं, वो महफिल, वो जश्न, वो सुकून का आलम, वो अमृत का बरसना, वो पैरों का थिरकना, वो छिप छिप कर तुझे निहारना, वो हाथों का इशारा, वो हसीन नजारा, और उस पर तेरा वो बेबाक इश्क, आंखों से जो तूने पिलाई है वो दिल तक उतर आई है, और अब तो ये आलम है कि हम हैं कौन, ये हमें ही इल्म नहीं. So that is this. Thank you. Thank you, Bhuvneshwari. Hello, Anshu. Hello, sir. Good to see. I can see some of you. Hi, Priyanka. Anshu, that's my niece. Hi, Bhuvneshwari. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Gauri, sir. Hi.
I'm glad that you can see the people now. And lots of very nice comments are coming in the chat box also. Okay, how beautiful and lovely your poem is. It's very difficult to decide whether you write better in English or in Hindustani. Both of them are. I think that is what the Ganga Jamni, the influence that we have from the city that we come from. And also that you've used a lot of forms instead of what largely people write are in words. I noticed that you are you're using a lot of forms. Is it very difficult? How do you go about it? What is how do you actually that it's a poem that you want to write in a certain form, or is it the other way around?
Sabha, honestly, I usually write in free verse, but most of it has been the challenge in TSL, as you know, the group run by this erudite gentleman sitting here, Dr. Koshi, this humble gentleman, and I don't know Sadbir Chadhadi, and where is Santosh Bakayadi? I don't know if she's here or not. So the prompts which are given in TSL and Mapurimo and otherwise, they have challenged me to sort of, use these forms, for poetry. And that is how, because generally I tend to write towards, generally I write in free verse. But sometimes, like for the prompts and otherwise, sometimes I've used sonnets. There's a roseate sonnet, the form created by Dr. Koshi. Then I think a Villanelle is there, which was another prompt which was given, and a ghazal also, English ghazal, I think, is there. So basically, it's a challenge to, uh,
Okay.
as you know. Yes.
Yes. Is there any other poem that you would like to recite now?
Not, I think I'm okay. This probably all the women and all of us were going gray now, although we tend to use a tube and make it a little black. So when black turns gray, the first time when you go gray, your thoughts are in disarray. The first time when you go gray, your thoughts are in disarray. You stand before the mirror, going squint, trying hard to cut that unruly wisp from the mop of black. It's difficult to find. It's difficult to find. You have to try many times till you catch it and snip it. Old is not gold. Old is not gold. Old is gray. Old is not gold. Old is gray. Even if it was gold, you don't want that. Somehow, suddenly, you find your spotless skin now has pigments. Cold spiders start crawling. The clouds of your eyes are full of rain. You peer a little more. The placid river has no ripples, but the woman staring back has wrinkles. Thank you.
Oh,
The
beautiful.
woman staring back has wrinkles. So,
Beautiful, beautiful.
thank you.
Very nice. Really love
Thank
this
you.
one.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was your journey and how you've grown as writing. What is the next thing that you're writing? I'd like to know if you are, what is the next book? And is it poetry? Is it something else? Maybe we can all know about that too.
I think Sabha, you know it, and most of my friends know about it, that I have been trying to write a book on my father since the past 2.5 years, and about the journey of it's a biography on my father, which I'm writing. And I hope I can do that. My father's 95 right now. And he took part in the freedom struggle. And then later he was a lawyer, then a judge in the High Court, then in the Supreme Court. He was the chairman of the Law Commission. So his whole journey, I'm writing in the biography.
Although,
And so that is what I'm writing right now. And I
Yes,
think
we're all
most
looking
of you, I
forward to
hopefully, I know hopefully I should finish it by now.
Yeah.
And now I have to. Yeah. So.
Is there anyone who would like to say something or ask a poet something? Koshi sir? I think.
Koshi sir, Gauri, anybody who'd like to?
Yes,
think
Koshi sir is here. He's back. Yeah. Koshi sir, would you like to say something or ask her something?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. I was looking through what I had written for Sunita Ford, and then I was reading the poems once again in Dance of the Flamingos.
I think
I think
he's,
it's
Yeah,
disconnected.
Yeah.
no, he's there.
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Am I
think.
back?
We
Yes,
can
you're
hear
back.
you.
Okay.
you are.
Yeah, okay. So, you know, like we used to talk about Kalamanthan and Sadat Hasan Manto, and you know how this people are usually not interested in literature from different languages, where there's a lot of pressure. But when I was reading her poems, you know, there you can divide them. You know, there are poems, you know, that are like spiritual, and there are poems that have a real powerful social thrust. And then there are poems, of course, love poems or poems about feelings and emotions like love. But I know I wanted to read a poem, you know, so because today it was the launch, I took out the book, and there are some, you know, one thing that I want to talk about is, since Santosh is not here, I want to tell you that when Sunita sent, I am speaking as if for her, but this is something I think I should mention. I mean, she was very impressed when Santosh was very impressed when Sunita sent her the manuscript, because she said, you know, I am so used to getting manuscripts that are full of, you know, mistakes, horrible ones, you know, where more job is done by her to put it into some kind of shape, and half the credit should go to her actually. But she was very impressed that with Sunita's manuscript, you know, everything was ship shape, the language, you know, the formatting, everything, you know, it was such a good job. So she said, I didn't really have to do anything. I could just tell her, go ahead with it. So I think that really matters a lot, because when we speak of form is not just about writing a sonnet or haiku and all, but form is actually, you know, having this idea that when you do something, you should do it really well. And that's the actual meaning of form, not whether you write in free verse or you write in the sonnet form or anything like that. So I just want to read this poem because I think I like it a lot, because I think it's slightly different from the stuff I spoke of, which could be spiritual or about Shiva or Krishna or India, or which could be about social problems or anything. This is called the Song of Spring. And I think this is a slightly different one. So I'm reading it, the Song of Spring. Spring arrives like bells on my feet, henna on my hands, twinkling stars on my wrists, blossoms of blush pink and radiant reds coloring my cheeks. Sun's fingers embrace my earth, rocks grow hearts, dandelions shoot up in the arms of the Matwala Basan. I dance in wheat and mustard fields, golden my skin, shining with the blessings of Persephone, Harsingar, jasmine, showering fragrant blossoms of love, languorous days and moonlit nights of love-making, tasting breaths of forbidden fruits, luscious and sweet, flashing colors of fagun, meadows and gardens bursting at the seams. But it's still winter. When will it be spring for me? So, you know, I like this poem a lot because of the way in which she mixes in Grecian mythology. And it's also a very powerful poem in terms of, you know, visual imagery, colors, all the images. I mean, there's a lot to imagine and see. It's a very good poem. I mean, these are the kind of poems that you can come back to again and again and read and enjoy. And then, of course, there are two poems. I mean, recently, I think somewhere when Sunita was reading with me, she was speaking about some poems that, you know, she really liked. But I don't know if she read them today. But I am having a net problem.
Harsh reality.
So maybe
That's
she
harsh
could
reality.
read that, you know. Maybe she
Yeah,
could
Harsh
read
is-
that. I mean, there are a couple of poems, you know, one about a woman, an old woman. I mean, a woman on the socially relevant poems. Could you read one of them, Sumita? Actually, I mean, that's my question to you. Could you pick on one of those poems you had mentioned when you're reading poems with me and Satosh and all and read it from your
Yes,
book?
it's called That Woman, about a woman who lives on the pavement, and also Love or Hunger. These are the two ones which are actually about women who I saw, and so they are the ones. You want me to read it?
Yes,
Yeah.
That Woman. Now we had Sakha poems also. I think I've read it earlier, but this is really close to my heart because in Bombay, I was going and I saw this woman on the pavement, and this was where she lived, and it was just something, it was in tatters. And the look in her eyes, it stayed with me. And that compelled me to write this. Of course, the rest is the imagination, but there was this look in her eyes which were glassy, and on the pavement and everywhere you could see big, dazzling buildings, and she was on the pavement. So this is called That Woman. Sakha, she calls out, that woman who lives beneath the high rise, under the neon signboard, on a tiny piece of footpath where she sleeps, lives, eats, prays. Can you hear the sound of her silent shivering in the icy night of a city of excess which has nothing? Can you hear her frozen heart dripping sometimes like drops on frozen glass? Can you understand what she says when she stares straight ahead? Her eyes glassy, her lips cracked and bleeding. Can you hear her when in tatters she lights an agarbatti to pray no one kills her dead body as she lies sleeping? Can you tell me? Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank
very
you.
nice. And you know what Koshi sir was saying, and then someone put it on the chat also. A friend of mine is here, Prasanna. She's saying it's amazing how you bring the Indian into your writing in English. I think this is one of the highlights of your poetry, and maybe because you are so fluent bilingually, you know that, I mean, it's so rooted in culture and everything. And there was another question which I'll also bring up. There's this question from Shukra Tiwari. Do you ever face a writer's block? How do you deal with it?
That is, that we have a whole TED talk which Santosh Ji has done on writer's block, that there is no such thing. I have mentors like Dr. Koshi and Dr. Santosh Bakaya who can write 6 poems at one go. So when you have such people, and Santosh Ji is continuously, both of them are writing so many books. So, but personally for me, I never force myself. I don't know whether block or something. I'm not such a great writer as such to, sort of say a writer's block. But if I'm not inspired by something, then I don't. But generally, Sabha, we have prompts and we have some subjects on which, and we write sometimes, and sometimes we are just unable to write.
Yeah.
So I don't force myself. I just write a line and leave it and come back to it. But block, as of now, I don't know. I think it's more of laziness and procrastination.
And there's another question which is related to this. Which poem has left you feeling a little unburdened?
Which poem has left me unburdened in the sense that it's cathartic, release?
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of a vent or something, or it's, yeah.
I think most of my feminist poems, where I say, I'm not Sita, you can be Ram. Even if you're Ram, I'm not Sita, and don't expect me. So there are many feminist poems. I'll read 2 lines from this, in which I say, so I think let it be. I've read a lot. In which just two
No,
lines.
no, read,
Even if
read,
you are Ram,
read.
even if you are Ram, don't expect me to be Sita. If you want to be Dhritarashtra, don't assume I will be Gandhari. Blindfolding eyes just to comply. Draupadi is certainly not who I am. To give consent to unfair diktats. Be mild and dutiful like Urmila. Waiting patiently and endlessly is certainly not my cup of tea. So this is just a portion of the poem. So these are very, my feminist poems. So maybe
That's
that.
good.
My sister doesn't have to ask anything. My sister is there. Would she like to say anything,
I would like to ask you a question, Sunita. Sunita,
Yes.
I would like to
Yes.
ask you a question.
Yes,
You
please.
have you written on love, romance? Have you written anything on love or romance?
I've written a lot about love. I think in my book, if you see the book, I don't know who I'm addressing, but I
You're
can't
speaking
see.
to Manveen.
Oh, Madhu did that. Oh,
Huh.
I saw. So,
I would like you to read out something that you have written on love, romance, that way. Have you written
uh,
something? Would you like to read out?
I think Sir just read "Spring on
Yes,
My."
yes,
Yeah,
that was,
so that is about love. Song of Spring. I think that's about love. There are many poems. Even Dance of the Flamingos is about love. How when I when the when you blush, flamingos dance, unfurl their wings, and dance on the cheek. So that is also about love.
yes. Okay,
Sunita,
thank you.
my light in your sky.
Oh, Gauri. Hi, Gauri. That also is a love poem, Gauri. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for my sister
It's
and
been,
my nieces, they don't want to ask anything.
Question if possible.
Say anything.
Bhuvana ji wants to ask something. Yes.
Yeah, sure, Bhuvna. Yes.
Okay. So my question is like, how often does the poem flow out of you? Like, or do you edit? Sometimes the poem just flows, right? And it sounds perfect and it looks perfect by itself. And sometimes we need to edit and redo it, and we're never satisfied. So have you gone through these two processes, like when you write?
Bhuvna, you're such a good poet, such an accomplished one. So I'm sure, and your poems are such perfect gems. So I think all of us, when we go back to the poem, some of course when you write they're just complete, and you don't have to. But some of them, of course, as you know, when we go back after see it after a few days or weeks, like when I'm reading this, then I'm seeing that some of these need editing and some words are extra which should not be there. So I think it's a process which depends upon poem to poem, I think.
True, so true.
Uh,
Very true.
Sabha, this is Gauri.
Yes.
So I would also like to say a few words.
Yes, please.
So I really had a head start with the book because I read it while I was writing the blurb. I liked it then, and I'm liking it even more now. Now that I read it along with this beautiful pink cover and in its physical, form. So I have known Sunita for 3 years now. Met her at CSL, then in person as well. A very humble and sensitive person, and much more sensitive poet, I would say. She and I do agree with whatever she said in terms of she being temperamental. You would still see it in her feminist poems, perhaps. And sometimes when at SL, somebody misbehaves in your inbox, she comes and is very temperamental about it. I still, I mean, that she is very temperamental. So, because in the book, and generally she to say what she wants and yet is very gentle about it. There are also a few romantic poems that she has written, and very beautiful though. So she has also taught me a little bit about how do you read poetry and recite poetry. So she is my teacher in that Sunita. And I wish you all the very best and success for your book. I would like to read a very short poem, which actually I liked very much when I was reading the book. It's about a white hibiscus flower. Okay, a white hibiscus in a bunch of red looks sad, is it? Or happy to be a soothing in a bush of flaming fire? A dove with small pink eyes. Today I look at that hibiscus again, solitary, undaunted by the masses of men, celebrating it. And the title of the poem also is Ipsity. So in very few lines, how she talks about celebrating one's being different. It's really beautiful. So that's all. Thank you, Sunita, and wish you all the.
Thank you so much, Gauri. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I didn't know.
Wish you all the best. Heartiest congratulations on your book.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I can see that Yasin is also here. Yes, Yasin would like to.
Yasin.
I am here for long, but वो connect नहीं हो रहा था. Then I pinged Amir on Facebook.
Oh.
Then he helped me out.
Hi.
Hi, Yasin. Hi, Yasin. Thank you.
Hi, Yasin.
How are you, Amber?
Hi, Sudarshan. Hi.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm fine.
is also here.
Sudarshan, yes, Sudarshan is also joined.
How are you?
How are you? Thank you
brother.
so much.
I'm very good. I'm very good. Good to see everyone here.
Thank you, Sudarshan ji, for
Hi,
joining
Bushra.
Good to see you.
Bushra is also here. I can't see. Hi.
Sunita,
Hi,
tell me
Bushra.
one
He
thing.
just inside.
Yes. Yasin. Yes, you are asking.
You are a proud Prayagraji, isn't it?
You
We
are.
have two teams. Mummy is here.
You are. It's a very touchy subject, and all the time. Prayagraj is the train on which I bought to go to Allahabad. I was born and brought up in
So
Allahabad.
how much of Allahabad can be seen in your poetry? I mean, obviously, that. Yeah, please go ahead.
No. Please ask.
हाँ, तो क्या होता है क्या कि जब आप लिख रही हैं, you are basically influenced by things that you have been brought up with, the environment, the entire setup. So how much of Allahabad we can actually see in your poetry?
I think मेरी परवरिश जो गंगा जमनी तहजीब है, जिस तरीके से मुझे घर में पाला गया, जहाँ कोई हमारे यहाँ ऐसा कुछ हाँ कल्चर बहुत ईद पर खूब हम लोग वो था सब कुछ, तो वो सब चीजें और एक जो कल्चर का इफेक्ट है वो इलाहाबाद का त्रिवेणी जिसको कहते हैं और गंगा जमनी तहजीब, वो स्पेशली हमारी हिंदी के जो पोएम्स हैं उसमें आपको दिखेगी, क्योंकि मैं हिंदी जिसको बोले क्लिष्ट हिंदी में नहीं लिखती, उर्दू मैंने कोई सीखी नहीं है, तो जो मैं लिखती हूँ वो हिंदुस्तानी जिसको कहते हैं, जो मिली जुली भाषा वही हम लोग घर में बोलते थे और वही सुनते थे, उसी में हमने लिखी है। तो इलाहाबाद का और इंग्लिश की भी पोएम्स में इलाहाबाद का असर तो है ही, जिस तरह की परवरिश हुई वो है ही इसमें, it is there I think, and it's a very important part of my individuality, my personality.
Good.
Sunita, I want to say, Guria, actually, this is Usha Singh from Seattle. I'm Sunita's oldest sister, and I have seen her since the day she was born. and I'm so proud. आज का दिन मैं इतनी खुश हूँ, मेरे आंखों में आंसू आ रहे हैं कि वो छोटी सी गुड़िया आज इतनी बड़ी हो गई है और इतनी अच्छी बड़ी बातें कर रही है, जो जिसको बोलना सिखाया जाता था, चलना सिखाया जाता था, आज वो इतनी प्यारी कविता लिख रही है, इतने प्यारे अपने इमोशंस जो है किताबों में लिख रही है, वर्ड्स में लिख रही है। एंड सबसे बड़ी जो मुझे लगती है, आई एम सो प्राउड ऑफ हर कि शी इज अ वेरी फ्री थिंकर। आई मीन उसको कोई बांध नहीं सकता है। एंड ये एक जो पोइट की जो जर्नी होती है, ये बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आप फ्री थिंकर होने चाहिए, आपको अपनी थॉट्स होनी चाहिए, नॉट अ प्री कंसीव्ड नोशंस। एंड आई एम सो प्राउड ऑफ यू गुड़िया, सुनीता सॉरी। एंड बस भगवान तुमको ऐसी तरक्की देते रहे, ऐसी कई बुक्स तुम लिखती रहो, हम सब का आशीर्वाद है, हम सब की जो है दुआएं हैं तुम्हारे साथ। एंड मे गुरुजी, मे गॉड ब्लेस यू ऑलवेज। और आप सबका इतना धन्यवाद है जो इनके साथ हैं, जो इनको प्रेरणा देते हैं और जो इनको आगे बढ़ाने की में मदद देते हैं। आप सबको बहुत इतना अच्छा लग रहा है आप सबसे मिल करके और सुन करके कि शी इज इन द राइट कंपनी नाउ। Thank you so much. Okay, Guria. Bye.
Thank you so much. You said all lovely things about Sunita.
She's my
master. She's a master in English literature. She used to teach me. Maths she couldn't teach me. She taught me English. And she's a master's in English literature. So she's...
Great to have a sister like that.
Yes, I know. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have lovely people. All of you also to be there in my life, you know. I'm blessed.
Can I talk about you?
Yes, please.
Sunita.
Yeah. You're like my elder sister too.
Because I talk the most to you and I think I know you very well. So what I feel about you is that you're basically a romantic. Very impish sometimes, but very profound. And as your poem shows, you're very deep-rooted in society, family, to the ground, to the soul, to your own philosophy. And you create your own philosophy. You're not bound. Right? And my blessings, this is a good start. I'm flaunting the book again, right? Bless you, many more books.
Thank you, Sujit.
Is there time? Can I read one short poem of yours?
Yeah, of course.
It's very special because it's a romantic poem and it's very Indian. It's just, she's literally, her Indian self English. My light in your sky. My anklets play the malcons as the Deepak within me ignites, and it's addressed to Sakha. You smile in the sparkle of tinkling red, yellow, pink, turquoise of my bangles. In the tinkling red, yellow, pink, turquoise of my bangles. As you run your fingers through my hair, playing with my errant curls, coiled serpents around your long fingers, pulling them ever so slightly as I drown in your hypnotic eyes. The sheer swirl of my diaphanous ordinary hides my pain, my love, my vulnerabilities, my tears, delicately ensconced in each fold, coming undone at your touch, spreading like the fragrance of rose ether, my light shining in your vast blue skies, my light shining in your vast blue skies. It's such a perfect poem and it's so beautiful. I'm so happy that I'm reading this. Congratulations again, Sunita. Congratulations to all of us at TSL, really, because you're one of our admins and you're like a torchbearer. Bless you again.
Thank you, Sudevi.
So much. I think maybe we can wrap it up now.
Sabaji, I'm Pooja here. Can I just ask one more question? I'm Sunitaji's niece.
Hello, Pooja. Good to see you here, Pooja.
I know, Hannah. Many congratulations and thank you, Sabaji, for organizing this. I mean, in this time when we can't really step out, and this is a wonderful time. The weather is so beautiful, and to hear such lovely poetry, you know, it just melts away our hearts. So thank you so much. And for all our viewers, Sunita ji is my aunt. She has been more like a mentor and a friend to most of us, because all of us know her as this really fun-loving and positive person. But what I know about her is one thing, that she cannot stand injustice. And Marcy, I just wanted to ask you one thing, that I know your mother, like my Nani, is always written such beautiful poems. I know she's been an inspiration to you, but when you look around and see so much happening, how do you manage to filter your emotions and what you bring out in your poetry? How do you strike that balance?
See, Pooja, oh my God, what a question. You've asked a difficult question, huh? time to grill Mossy.
We love you, na? We love putting you on a spot, no? That's what nieces do.
Yes, I know. That's what nieces do.
No, but I'm so proud of you. I can't tell you. So proud of you. So proud of you.
I know, Pooja, so am I. She's a chartered accountant. She runs the school, Amity School. She runs it. So, Pooja, I'm sorry, not the school. The charity foundation is run by her.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
She's part of the Amity group. So Pooja, you said, how do I manage to filter out whatever negativity or injustice is there?
Yes. And how do you balance it with your writing? Because I know for all of us, you've always been a fun-loving, you always portray yourself, but inside we know that, you know, you've always thought of what is wrong, and you've like children in our house, you brought us up like, you know, this is wrong and this is right. So how do you manage to balance your emotions? And because your poems are beautiful and they bring out a lot of thought, but a lot of positivity. So how do you balance all that?
Balance, I think it's not a conscious effort. I think it's basically how you are made up, part of your personality. And you see, you know that how vocal I am. I mean, both of us have had such vociferous arguments, discussions, which have, you know, really heated ones also. So, you know, that I'm not one to keep quiet. You know very well about it. I may wear a sari, but I'm very, very, you know, I have to speak out. I can't sit quietly if I have something to say. So that is also, that comes out in my poems. And also the positive part is that, you know, I'm basically a positive person. So I may be low or may think something negative is happening. Maybe through my poems, what I write or whatever is my writing, I bring it out and sort of, you know, it comes out in my angst, comes out in my poems. And otherwise, apart from that, because I'm basically a positive person and I cannot sit, you know, for a long time. I have to, I think I get back into my, into the groove after a certain period of time. And my friends here, Gauri especially, will tell you that many times when both of us talk to each other and we say that we are feeling low, I tell her, you listen to all the nonsense Bollywood songs and they have a way of, you know, making you, you know, pep up, you know, perk up. So balance is basically, I think, Pooja, it's about your personality, you know, and how you have been brought up. And how you can manage to, it's there in everyone's life, not just a poet, you know. So you
Great,
have to be
thanks.
grounded and rooted. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you. We are so proud of you. And your book cover says all about positivity and happiness and love. Thank you so much.
I can see, I want to say namaste to my co-sister-in-law, Atul's elder brother's wife, Rekha Didi, and namaste Rekha Didi. Thank you so much. आप यहाँ पर आई पुणे से और हाँ दीदी, thank you. And I don't think.
Yeah.
Yes. And हाँ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. Sangeeta Mishra. Sangeeta is a very dear friend of mine. Hi, thank you for being here. Vinita ji, thank you so much. I don't know, I can't see all of you, so whoever is here, you know, I'm really grateful to you for being here and for being a part of my journey, Sabha. So many people, each friend of mine, each family member, all friends, old, new, everybody has played a part. And I'm blessed because I have only met and been with lovely people, you know. And Sudarshan ji of Authors Press, he has been very kind. Whatever changes I said, he was very prompt. So I'm grateful to each and every one. And I'm very blessed and I'm very grateful to the Almighty. My greatest achievement
well
is...
done. Very
Thank
well done. You said it all. You did it all.
One line I want to say is that for me, the greatest achievement is that such accomplished poets, Sabha, all of you, you consider me as your friend. That, I think, is my greatest achievement. Books, of course, there are many people who write, and to be called a poet or a writer, I don't know if I am one. But yes, I'm happy to be counted as a friend by all of you, Vinita ji, everyone.
Thank you so much. I think you're a lovely person, Sunita ji. That's why all of us love you so much. It's your goodness that we're all so fond of you and we love you so much.
And my books, etc., bag, bibliophile one, I don't know where I kept it. I was thinking I would keep it here so that I can show the beautiful bag which I have from books, etc.
Thank you. I'd request everyone to see our website, go to our website. We develop bookish merchandise. So everything, the idea is whatever you can think of, right from mugs to cushion covers to wall clocks, everything is related with books and literature. And we are trying to promote a lot of vernacular literature. So we have, for example, a mug on Premchand or Tagore or Ghalib. That is the idea. We're trying to promote Indian writers, poets, and authors. Do have a look at our website. We put the website on the chat box here, booksetcstore.com. Check out the books, the merchandise that we have. Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure. A very enriching evening. Lovely poetry with lovely people. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
so
Sabha.
much.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you. Thank you, books, etc.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, books, etc. Sabha. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Sunita. It was fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.